Yet another scene change as is evidenced. Oh, that window looks weird. Okay, so the gang are reunited. Chris has met Pooh, Lucario, Chris, Ness, Joff, Paula, and Pooh indeed have are back together again. Yippee. Okay.
They deserved some punishment,
Lucario said in his defense.
even if I wasn't really trying to kill them all before I found out what they did to you.
The boy shrugged. Please, no more killing talk. I don't want to see you hurting someone else for the rest of the time we're here.
Lucario
didn't want to make his trainer feel much worse after everything that happened in the day.
I understand.
And no glares at the Mr. Saturns either, Chris added. He saw Lucario's cringing look until he sighed and nodded in understanding. The Aura Pokemon thought that the favour was too much to ask, though. Yeah, so, Ness clapped his hands. Anyone want to do something productive in this wrecked factory, like exploring it for some clues and free items? Paula felt her feet shaking all of a sudden, until she noticed everyone else was affected by the floor shaking. A tremor! She yelped. A small tremor caused them to gasp and look around frantically, until Pooh pointed at the wall in front of the entrance of the room. The wall was starting to fall apart, its steel plates dislodging and separating. The group distanced themselves from the falling wall until, after dodging the debris and letting the dust clear out, found that there was a tunnel on the other side of the obstruction. Hey, that's a pretty wide tunnel there. Right there, in fact, Juff noted. So that's what Mewtwo was talking about when he said that this room was inadequate, Chris muttered under his breath. A closer look at the tunnel they saw shed some light further up ahead, making it clear as day that it could have been used as a getaway route to wherever it led to. More importantly was the fact that an unconscious yellow body with a bloated lump on its head rolled all the way to their feet and came to a halt. Hey, look at that creature, Ness said blankly. Where did that come from? Pichu! Chris stuttered when he remembered what had happened to the creature. I saw him getting blown into this room when there were explosions in the factory. And then he got knocked out when he crashed into the wall. He was with those guys. You mean he was with the bad guys? Oh, now I see what we can do with him. That's pretty ominous, the Onat boy said while taking out his baseball bat and smacking it twice on his palm. Time to make it squeal some dark secrets. Is he a fucking enforcer for the mob or something? Talk, you son of a bitch. Time to make it squeal some dark secrets.
Ness, we're not going to interrogate the poor thing with torture, Paula scolded. Ness put away his bat and grimaced.
I think it's fine for now. He used to have that dark aura until it went away when he got knocked out, Chris said. That dark aura you saw on those guys was brainwashing them all. They would probably never behave like that if it wasn't for that aura.
Dark aura?
Lucario muttered.
I just saw that aura when I rescued you. I didn't see it before I entered.
Probably because you were too busy causing chaos and destruction, Pooh noted. You were blinded by rage. It is pure luck that we survived the obliteration of this hideout.
I was just trying to...
Lucario looked concerned at Chris. It is fine. All that matters is you successfully rescued him with no casualties on... All that matters is that you successfully rescued him with no casualties on our side. I do recommend you to keep a close check on your emotions for next time, Pooh advised the Aura Pokemon, seeing Lucario in deep thought when he lost it several moments ago. Giving Lucario time to reflect, Pooh looked down at Pichu. It is your call what you want to do with this creature. Ellipsis. Chris was afraid that Pichu could actually still be possessed, but the rodent looked pretty beat up, making it hard for them to consider if he was faking it. I think I'm going to take him with us. He was part of the team we joined. Really? He was with you? Ness asked, really vaguely seeing Pichu before in the past. Does that mean those other guys were with you before? Well, we never met, but they used to be with the team. I'm sure our boss is going to be happy that we retrieved Pichu from this world, the boy said, bending down and picking Pichu on his arms. This should be the right thing to do.
If that's what you want to do, go ahead, Paula said. With Lucario by your side, it should be pretty safe to take that creature, right?
Chris looked and nodded at Lucario. Yes. Jeff looked at the tunnel up ahead and he talked to the others.
Say, why don't we see where this tunnel leads to? I have an inkling we'll find something important at the other end, if the bad guys really wanted to keep it secret, he suggested. We can come back to check this factory after we see where it goes.
An enlightening suggestion. Let us proceed, Pooh agreed. Looking back one last time at the claustrophobic factory, the group departed from the room and entered the long, winding tunnel, wondering what place the exit was going to be like. Sensing his trainer shivering at the memory of what had happened at the factory, Lucario kept him close and became much more alert of anything else that could happen. He was never going to repeat the same incident ever again. We'll see. Once the group reached the exit of the tunnel, they had to push some boulders back to step out. The light was coming from some small gaps. After clearing the way out and stepping outside to breathe fresh air, Ness stared in disbelief at a familiar hot spring to their left. Seriously? He asked loudly. Saturn Valley. The group found themselves back in Saturn Valley, specifically right next to the drugged hot spring that kick-started the whole problem with rescuing Chris from the enemy army. The children were bewildered that they could have gotten to the factory by simply using the tunnel behind their backs rather than taking the long way through the falls. Chris was even more bewildered when he stared at the messed-up state the valley was due to Lucario's howls of fury wrecking the cliffs, and gave him a grimace that made Lucario hang his head down in shame. As well he should.
Unbelievable, Paula said when she looked back at the tunnel and then at the valley. So this may have been one easy for us to rescue Chris.
Ness sighed. Yup, we have the worst of luck ever. This really sucks, he muttered, sitting down and then embracing his knees in solace. Lucario tried one more time to see if he could pinpoint the factory using his sixth sense, and this time he was able to see that location clearly, with nothing to fool his sight. Perhaps the invisible veil covering that place was caused by the presence of the enemies, he thought. He was very glad that he wasn't going insane with his emotions to find Chris, thinking that they had clouded his sight.
It's all in the past, like we've said before,
Lucario said.
Everything turned out okay.
Chris's smile wasn't forced. He felt happy anyway. We should be glad that we managed to defeat the enemy, even if that involved me experiencing the worst. He looked down at himself and recalled that he was stuck as a boy. This boy illness I have just won't go away, though. It's been some time and it hasn't left yet. It's about time that I just give up and restart my childhood all over. Oh boy, just complain some more, why don't you? I complain a lot about the individual aspects of the story, but I mean, you know, Chris's whole, fucking, I'm so miserable, why does bad stuff happen to me? Routine is becoming incredibly tired at this point. Pooh turned to face the boy and took his time, staring deeply into him. This body of yours is fake, isn't it? He asked Chris, who looked surprised. Your essence doesn't truly fit its shape. It is as if you had been afflicted by a strange spell that reverted your body into this. Pooh came closer to Chris, the latter feeling uncomfortable with the beady eyes staring deeply into his soul. Pooh then stepped back and made his hands glow with PSI energy. Hold still now. The boy started to sweat in horror at what was going to happen, and Lucario couldn't prevent what happened next after Chris managed to say, Wait, what are you going to do to me? PSI healing, Pooh shouted and opened his PSI-energized palms to the boy, sending a cooling wave out that covered the boy's body completely in a blue shade. And with a simple poof of smoke, the boy version of Chris was replaced with the rightful teenage version that he used to be before he had been turned into the boy from the subspace bomb. Bum 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 bum.